Cronulla.
Yeah.
They have reinvented themselves because we talk about, like I said on the show last night, every side, you have almost an identity.
Yeah.
Like if I, or something that sums them up, if I look at Penrith, I say, precision.
Yeah.
Melbourne, discipline. When I always look at the Sharks, the thing that comes to mind is, hey, they're nice guys.
Yeah.
But the last 2 weeks, mate, they've upped the ante. There's talking tough, and they're backing it up. I like it.
Yeah, Fitzgibbon, Hines, Blake, they're all talking like there's this siege mentality, Cronulla versus the world. And sometimes that can be quite a good thing to focus in on and get nasty and get tough and uncompromising. I really liked what the Sharks did. I thought they won the game with their goal line defence. The Raiders had a lot of possession, dominated the good ball early on. And yes, Corey Horsburgh scored one try, but the Sharks' goal line defence was rock solid. And in big games, I'm not sure what the stats are, but when you defend your goal line for a fair chunk in the first 20 minutes and you don't let the opposition score many points, you almost force the opposition into options 3, 4 and 5. But they didn't plan to do, and it builds confidence because then you get down the other end, and they did it again. 2 tries in 5 minutes, going to half-time, like it was a very rock-solid performance. And to go to the Raiders and get the job done, that's a dialed-in performance.
Mate, like the late season surge from the Sharks, I think there's a couple of things here. That powerful yardage combination. Ronaldo and Adam Blake. Ronaldo gets the sets going. Blake finishes them off.
Yeah.
Very, very good in yardage. Mate, key creative players finally forming combination. Nico and Trindle, but also Blake Brailey.
Yep.
And the other one is just great back rowers. They have great back rowers. And I don't know any other side in the competition that rely on their back rowers more. Because if you watch them play, Coops, Sharks have a tendency to drift sideways. But, mate, the back rowers, they just correct it all the time.
Billy Burns is playing really well. He's keeping Nickera on the bench. Once you've got that back 3 front rows doing the damage, when Trindle and Nico Hines put it together, that was... They've played good games before, but that was, as a pairing, that was one of their best.
Coops, and that's it. Like, they have... Do you know, like, I was talking to Craig Fitzgibbon at the start of the year, we're having a yarn about, Nico and Trindle and the age-old argument, which is, who's running the show, who's 7, who's 6, all that sort of stuff. And Fitzy made a good point. He said, they've been together now a couple of seasons, but they actually haven't played a lot of football together. There's been, Trindle's, there's been suspensions, there's been injuries, but you can see them, like, I thought that the second try they scored was the perfect example of how they've formed combinations, and they've identified each other's strengths and how to complement it. And they, it was a two-sequence play. They went down the left. Trindle told a little lie out the back to Nico, who sat and just put him. I think it was Kaoliro down that left-hand side. And then the following play, no setups. Trindle just took the ball, wandered across, trust himself, inside ball, and Hines. React and run.
When you make a line break near the goal line, the normal mindset of a half is pass, and get to the extremities. But Trindle just went into run mode, and that forced Nico Hines not thinking about passing the ball to support player. And I like that Trindle controlled the game. Like, his kicking game was good, but then Nico took his time and hit the scoreboard when he needed to. And the one thing about Nico is, I'm going to give him a rap here, is that he's a nice guy. He's a tremendous guy, right? And he does a lot of work in the community and things like that. But the fact that he's got this little bit of arrogance, telling everyone that no one's giving me respect.
It's good.
He actually looks like he's playing an aggressive mindset.
Yeah, he does.
And it is actually making him run the ball direct, north-south, as opposed to east-west. So, Nico, keep doing it. Big game for him against the Melbourne Storm.
Blake Brailey, geez, his elevation, not just his football, his leadership. I loved through the week, Coop. They asked him about, Cronulla. They're out there and you're proving the critics wrong in the media. Well, if you're relying on media for motivation, it's pretty empty motivation. I love, he said the other day, he was talking about it and he said, there's a bar over there that we all sit together on Mad Monday and have a beer and reflect on the season. And he said, I said to the players, no more of that. We don't want to be there again. We want to be there on the last day.
He's playing that well. I think he might be going on a kangaroo tour. Harry Green is the number one. There's no doubt about that. but there's a fair chance he better get his passport ready.
Raiders.
Oh.
Coops, it was the big talking point going in. Everyone was reflecting on how much was that, that previous game, the Sunday before, how much was going to weigh on him. And look, there was no doubt. Like, lose Ethan Strange was a huge loss leading into the game because he brings the energy. Yeah. And every time Cronulla had sustained possession, you just saw him getting closer to hit the wall. Yeah. And I think the point where you go, oh, they're gone, the Billy Burns try, where Billy just wandered across, and it was just, it was the defence line that was just on the ropes. Yeah. And at that point, Billy scores and it's 18-12, but you're watching the game and they've got nothing left in the tank. Yeah.
They came out with a really good mindset, Canberra. They were aggressive, they dominated the first period of time, and they got some penalties and actually had the confidence to go and score the try. So it showed that they were going after the contest. But you know, have a look at some vision about their goal line attack early on. And with no Ethan Strange, I think they just played too many short passes.
Yeah, right.
One thing they'd look in hindsight is they needed Kyo Weeks to move around the field more. So short passes, Starling here just peppering there for Young. I think Jamal Fogarty played a lot of short passes, and it just played into the hands. Here they just keep layering off here and shutting down. Now, at this stage, the Sharks are getting confidence. Like, it doesn't matter what you throw at us, we are continuing to go along here. They scored a try through Corey Horsburgh, but they just needed Jamal Fogarty to combine with Hudson Young and Kyo Weeks a little bit more than just doing the short passes in and around the ruck, because ultimately they didn't throw enough at the Sharks to make them feel not comfortable.
What do you think, Susan? I'll give them an 8.5 out of 10.
I'm giving them a 9.5.
Yeah, right.
Like, they were good. They were great, actually. They were more than good. They were great. And if you give them the regular season, you are pushing 10, because I don't think too many people saw them get the minor premiership. But they had to win for week 1 to have a shot at this title, and they just didn't manage to get over it.
That last 14 minutes of regular time, to have that time again. Yeah. Because it threw so much out. Like Ricky quite rightfully so said, no, hang on a minute, we're the minor premiers, we're going to play on the Sunday. Yeah. And to lose that game in a quick turnaround.
I've been in their shoes, and looking back on a game that you probably should have won, you spend the next 3 months analyse it in your own head. They need to work out what happened in the final series to make sure it doesn't happen again. And I think Ricky Stewart will be looking at that deeply.